Hey everybody, welcome to week 2 of BEARCAT Outdoors. On this week's episode, we're going to dive into what our show is all about, what our goals are, and then we're also going to jump into some turkey footage that we got from this last spring and tell you some tactics that we were really successful with. And I'm super excited to be sitting here with our new member, Kyle. It was really nice to get to know you a little bit last week, and I'm super excited to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was exciting to be able to share a little bit of my story last week and kind of my background, my hunting experience, what I've done so far. And yeah, I'm pumped to be on a show where I know we're gonna put out some really cool footage, some cool episodes. Like Cody said, we got some cool footage here toward the end of the episode of some killer turkey hunts we've got this last spring, and he's gonna dive in a little deeper about what you can expect here on BEARCAT Outdoors, what we're gonna be hunting, what we're gonna be doing, and yeah, take it away.
Yeah, we're all about capturing our tactics and what we do to be successful in the woods, whether we're chasing deer, whether we're chasing turkeys in the spring, waiting on the migration for the doves or the ducks or the geese, and in pursuit of a variety of fish, whether it's through the frozen ice or on the open water, to dog training, to prepping for the season, and everything that the outdoors has to offer. One of the biggest goals that we have on the show is to capture memories with family and friends.
Exactly, and I mentioned that a little bit on our first episode about my story. That's really ultimately what it's all about, and that's what we're going to be able to bring you guys here on the show is raw footage, what it's really like out in the outdoors, whether it's with your dad or whether it's with your best friend, and what it's really like being out there. And it's just all of it that goes into it, just combined as a whole. And so when we come back, we're going to dive into a little bit of turkey footage, some cool hunts we had this last spring, and you guys are not going to want to miss it. Welcome back to the show, guys. What we're going to do now is jump into a little bit of turkey footage, and we're going to talk about different decoy strategies, different times of the year that you want to be out hunting, different strategies for those particular times of the years, and what's different whether you're hunting in Nebraska or Missouri or Iowa, and just kind of how those differ and relate to each other. So Cody's going to start talking about some decoys.
Yeah, decoys are a huge part of turkey hunting. I mean, they're used all over the United States, and we both hunt in a few different types of states. He hunts up in Iowa a lot. I've hunted in both Nebraska and Missouri a whole lot, and in Kansas a little bit. But and I've used decoys everywhere that I've gone. My favorite setup that I think I have is the submissive hen with a Jake over the top of her. Usually that is just a really good setup no matter where you go, and a good majority part of the season.
Absolutely, and I agree with that because my friend Kyle and I, you'll see him later on the show, we've had unbelievable success with a submissive hen and a Jake nearby, because what happens is when a dominant gobbler comes out and he sees that hen and he sees that Jake in his territory, he doesn't like that too much, and oftentimes they'll just come running in. And what it does, it oftentimes gets them very close, whether it's within 7 yards for a shot with a bow or 30 yards with a 12 gauge. It really doesn't matter, because usually when they come running in like that, they're in trouble. And it makes for some pretty sweet footage too. We'll show you guys some clips of birds just running in.
Yeah, it's really cool to have the birds interact with the decoys. And like I said, it does depend on what time of year you are actually hunting these birds, because over in Nebraska, whenever you start early, they start their season like March 28th, which is crazy early, but the birds are really grouped up. So setting out a lot of decoys, and especially having a strutter decoy, can be real key on bringing a tom in and to be able to get a shot. So around here in Missouri, I usually start out with the submissive hen and the Jake, usually standing right over the top of her, really close to them. And like you said, you have some really good success with big toms coming in after them. And another thing I really like to do, especially on calmer days, is to take a feeding hen and give her some kind of motion, whether it's from a stake like attached to a string, or a motorized decoy, which is what I really like to do. Because if you ever see a hen or any type of turkey out there feeding in the field, they never stop moving.
Yeah, they're not standing still. And like Cody mentioned, different times of the year are a huge part of it usually, because up in Iowa, our season doesn't start till April. And so oftentimes early season you can be a little more aggressive. It also depends where in the state you're hunting, what the hunting pressure's been like. Oftentimes early season you can be a little bit more aggressive, and late season, if let's say you're on public land or land that's been hunted by people before, that same year, oftentimes by the time you get to third, fourth season, those birds are a little skittish and they're not quite as willing to react to calling and to react to decoys, because they've either been shot at and missed, or they've been spooked a certain number of times. But there are exceptions. I've had plenty of success fourth season and had plenty of aggressive birds come right into the setup, and it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, you just really, like you said, it really just depends on where you're at, what the hunting pressure is, and you just got to kind of switch up your decoys. I mean, early season, strutter could be key. Mid-season all the way up until later in the season, you know, the Jake and the submissive hen. But if you get real late, you get some really shy birds, just straight up using just a hen without trying to create that aggressive tendency can be key. And using decoys, we were talking about, you know, the time of year and stuff. Time of day is also a huge thing.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I've had super good success right when the birds just hit the ground, and sometimes they come running straight to the decoy. You know?
Absolutely.
And then I've also had really good success during the middle of the day. Straight during the middle of the day. Here in Missouri, we can hunt kind of like in Iowa. You can hunt all day. We can hunt all day during the youth season, and I had a really good successful hunt with my cousin this last year, and I think it's really time to go see some turkey action and see what these decoys did and see the success we had this spring.
I'm ready to see it.